just talk about the sort of behind the show or around the show. There's this kind of context, so that the more we understand what's happening, the more you may get an insight about the process and how you might kind of want to interact with that or direct it or steer it or whatever it may be. So just to go very, very quickly, the show that we're planning to do, the aim at the end of the day is to sort of present some material to a panel of people. And on the panel, I've invited the Deputy Leader of the Council, I've invited the Director of Public Health.
For real? Yeah. This is really happening.
Yeah, man, I've got the power. Whether they come or not is a different matter. But I've got a Deputy Leader. I emailed her and I said, these are the people I'm going to invite: Public Health, Director of Public Health, and someone to do mental health. And they said, yes, I would love to chair. The Deputy Leader said, I would love to chair the panel. Only reason I think part of her, she does a lot of work with her other organisation called Black Thrive, and they do a lot of black mental health stuff. And also she's the Deputy Leader of the Council, and I think it's a good election year for her. So to do that event, it would look good for her. That's why I think she accepted it. But hey, don't quote me.
On a minimum, sorry, you could say, look, there's a digital access as well, so minimum you can be present that way.
So there's going to be a panel. So there's going to be about 6 members on this panel, and essentially, to cut a long story short, we will present our material, sketches and so forth, on the night. And people will have an opportunity to give some comment and analysis about that material. Or I think it's very realistic. Yeah, my cousin's involved in that, and that's very true, and what you did there is very, contemporary, whatever. But also they will have an opportunity to solve the problems that are in that sketch that we come up with. So we're going to make these sketches, and they're very problematic. It's got a problem inside them. Someone can't achieve, someone wants to get something, someone wants to fight against this thing, and it's just crushing them. So the scenes are kind of loaded with this problem, frustration issue. And so what we're inviting the audience to do on the night is to sort of step up and try to rewind that scene, play it again with them in the role this time. So we take you out as the character and put them inside it, let it run, and let's see what they do that might bring out a different outcome. So, for example, let's say that we created a scene where, someone got overdosed 4 times as heavy that they normally do, and just kind of said, thank you very much, I accept this overdose, or not overdose, I accept this medication, thank you, it's really, really good for me, and I must listen to you, and off they go. Now, I'm assuming somebody like us, stereotypically, wouldn't accept that. That wouldn't be the way that we would play out that scene. And so what we're really looking for is, what are the strategies and tactics that they may use in that scene that we, the community, can learn from. Like, for example, if one person went in there and got really angry, that's just one way of doing it. One person was more used language to explain the power and the relationship that they feel in this situation. If another person just remained silent, if another person wrote a letter, the many different ways that thing could be played out. What we're looking for is to see what the examples are that are coming forward for us to then kind of go, there are many ways to deal with this scene, as opposed to the one way that it often gets done, or I involve myself in solving these situations. And what we're watching from the audience is a way to see different ways that they may attempt that. Now, that's their own solution. So at the end of the evening, by watching different audience members play out different things, we're getting a range of different ways that could be dealt with. And that is the important learning, to come away with a range of different ways of how this could be dealt with, as opposed to one way.
I'm just going to tie this
quick one. This is your problem, this is the scene. There's many ways to attack that scene. Right? We're attacking the scene, creating the scene. As many solutions can come out of that scene. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So that is your scene. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, fine. So,
Quick way of doing it.
I'm going to cut. You have to hold on a second because I'm on a train of thought. So they watch the scenes that you present, and then they get a chance to act in them, to look at these different perspectives and solutions. And at the end of all of that, it feels like we can have a deeper discussion about these issues and what might be beneficial, what might be good, what might not be good, all of that is worth going, well, what ideas do we have here and now that we may make a proposal that could change or alter the existing law that governs this way of things happening. The local authorities set things in place. This is how we run our services. Blah, blah, blah. It's done by this, and you can look it up. It's all in whatever. But what we're saying is, okay, these are existing laws, these are existing policies, these are existing ways of things happening, procedures and whatever. What we're saying is that we want to come up with new ways to break, change, adapt the existing laws, procedures, policies that already govern that oppression.
Can you give us examples of existing laws?
Well, being a very law student from Harvard, and I know all about the laws that govern a black man in the mental health system, I will give you 102 examples of the law around mental health. And one of them, which beautifully, I think it was somebody in the WhatsApp group put in the Mental Health Act in the WhatsApp group. Did anybody read it and do your homework? Anyway, I'm coming back to you. Was that, let's say that, for example, what keeps coming up for time and time again, when someone goes to get analysed and treatment and dealt with by these health professionals to seek help with them, they often, not all the time, they often will over-medicate black men because they pick up a kind of certain vibration that this person needs this dosage, way too heavy. Yeah, we've all heard this kind of story. So for me personally, that would be a change. How do they need to learn some cultural appropriation kind of stuff and make sure they get training, make sure whatever it is, so that kind of attitude and way of doing things doesn't happen again and again, or is less, or is minimized, or that group of people in that service realize, yes, we better actually change because, this is something that's important that people are kind of making their noise about. They've got rights to it and they want to say this and say that. So essentially what we're doing is stoking the fire. I feel like we're stoking the fire around what ideas do the community have that might change these existing procedures, rules, laws, policies. I mean, laws are really heavy to change. It takes years perhaps. But we can start that process by getting people to come up with what would be beneficial that would help us as a community so that black men get much more beneficial ways of being treated within the mental health and well-being sector. So that's essentially what we're doing. We're coming up with these things. I mean, we want the community to get behind and come up with these new ways that could alter the existing stuff that's out there. So kind of created the little hashtag, watch, act, vote. I want everyone to say that 10 times and then you'll be all good students. And so that's what the kind of context that we're kind of presenting our material with on the 2 nights that we do our show. And we want the community, for them, it's not really for us, we can recommend and suggest, but it's really the community to kind of go, yeah, I believe this needs to be changed. I think this is right, this is wrong. These existing things that I've experienced or my brother or my family have gone through, they need to be altered. And if we don't have those experts there who are able to make decisions, i.e. deputy leader of the council, director of public health, blah, 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 head of service of whatever, blah, blah. Those people are not a part of the panel, then we're really struggling. So they're going to be on the panel. And then we want other people to, you know, it could be a community group, it might be another group that deals with mental health and well-being, it might be some academics, it might be whoever, to be part of our allies that will kind of go, yeah, this stuff is really important, it needs looking into. And particularly if the community on the night, the audience are barling and making up their noise and going, yes, I want to see change, I think that particular procedure needs to be changed, then we've got an argument. And that's all come from the work that we have created in our processes, in our rehearsals, in the things that we believe will connect and will connect to the community and make them kind of want to go, this should be changed. So that's kind of the long range. I haven't gone into everything, and there's some advantages around that, there's some disadvantages around that. And I've kind of talked a little bit about how, you know, this is just really about how the process of the show will go. There's a performance, then there's a chance to analyse it, which I've talked about, which is the sort of chance to debate and talk about it, and then here